I think the governor's statement or monetary policy statement was quite informative and instructive in a sense that it was giving pointers on where the central bank sees the economy going and how we should be responding. The issue of foreign exchange inflows, definitely that we have a problem. They are not going to be coming in through as fast, especially from areas of tourism. And we also need not just look at what is happening within Uganda. We should be conscious that as these spikes go back in Europe, that is going to affect us again because the entire global economy is going to drag on in terms of recovery. So that means Uganda is also going to be slower. His 3 to 4% might even be optimistic. We might remain in the lower 4 with even a possibility of dropping down below 4, below 3. Now the reason that comes in is you have quite a number of challenges. One of them will be the demand will remain subdued because much as we have opened up, the lockdown is partially over, not completely over. We still have a challenge of the businesses have not yet picked up. A lot of people are still out of their jobs. All the thousands of teachers are still at home. And many other people who really survive on us working. We still have the curfew hours. The bars are not yet open. So we still have very fundamental critical areas that are not open. So demand in the economy is still very, very low. And people are still trying to recover because they ate their stock. They ate their savings. That even anybody earning money now is trying to cover back that backlog. So they won't get quickly into the frenzy of spending. People still have to cover their old debts and try to restart their businesses. So it's still going to be slow, as the governor rightly puts it, and we need to be watching that the global pandemic is still on. It's spiking again in Europe. So we might find ourselves, we may not have as many deaths, but that might mean because people are now more conservative in their activity of going out there. We have seen big drops in economy, recessions really, in countries that have not had them to those magnitudes. 20%, 30% in the UK and in the US. Those are big drops that they have not had for quite a lot of time. Not to relate the economic recovery with the lifting of the lockdowns. Nobody should confuse the two. That even after the lockdown goes away or is eased, the economy won't just recover. This is also going to be, secondly, is going to be very critical for specific sectors. So depending on which sector one is in, they should not come back and think that because they have opened up and my neighbor is back and running, we too will just jump in. Do not think because your sector has been opened up, the others also can drag you back. You're dependent on those other sectors. We all know NASA Road is about printing. It's about selling of scholastic materials. As long as the schools are not open, that part of the market is gone. So people should be broader in thinking, and they should continue creatively and innovatively find ways of minimizing the expenditures, handling every shilling in your hands with kind of seriousness, because it can go away anywhere, and you need to put it where it should be. Do not just rush to borrow to restart your business. Your business depends on other businesses. You might get a problem with that loan. You must cross all the T's or the I's of why are you borrowing. Have you worked out the entire chain that you will actually realize the assumptions and the reasons for the borrowing? And this also goes to the ones who are lending. And I think the financial sector is now getting into an even more complex phase, because now we've had non-performing loans not moving because of the restructuring that the central bank allowed. But remember, this was for about 1 year. And some people thought by now COVID would be history. So they only restructured for 3 months. Now they have to do another restructuring and possibly another restructuring. As we get towards the end of that 1 year of restructuring, we might begin to see even banks themselves beginning to look at certain businesses and say, no matter how many times I restructure this particular one, I don't think it's coming back. So the earlier you put it on your books as a non-performing asset, the better. Don't postpone the day of judgment. But now that will begin to weigh heavily, one on the liquidity of the banks, but also on their capital requirements. So we're going to see those strains, and the banking sector needs to be consciously watched and advised on how they should be managing the next steps.